used to be our 2008 Malibu, and now it's my son's. So it's just gone in for pre-safety, and after I fixed all the rust holes on it, brought it in, and it needs a tie rod end on passenger side, and 2 stabilizer links in the front, and that's all. That's pretty darn good for a car that has 257,000 kilometers on it. I've always kept up the car and done very little maintenance on this thing since we bought it. It's been a really, really good car. Hope my son can enjoy this. So, I'm gonna do the stabilizer links, but first I'm gonna do the tie rod, and I'll put this in 2 separate videos. So, tie rod. So I've got the wheel off, and you'll need a 19mm socket to get the wheel off. And there's the outer tie rod right there. And I've got the jack underneath in the location where you're supposed to jack the vehicle. And I've got a jack stand underneath there, and the e-brake is on. So I'm all set to get started. This here is a 21mm, and on the bottom nut down here, that's an 18. Loosen up this nut here first. Watch your hand. Ooh, I just smacked it up against the side here. Ouch, 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 ouch. Okay. And I'm only gonna undo it a little ways because I don't want this to go out of adjustment. So, oh, did I ever hurt that? Oh, this is gonna get a little noisy here. I'm gonna try and rattle this bottom nut loose. Ooh, and I got lucky. If that doesn't come off that easily, then you're gonna have to put a box end wrench on the end of this and hold that, and then try and loosen that with a wrench. It can be quite a pain, but this one came out nice. So you can do this in one of 2 ways. I've got a fork like this, and you can pound that out with that fork, or you can put the nut back on the bottom and pound it out. This one came out very easy. Nice. Okay. And there's a bushing on the inside right here. Just make sure that you look for any wear on that bushing, and the bushing looks good. I'm going to count how many turns it is to get this off. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the best thing to do is, if you take both of them and you compare the length, line up this end over here, because they are aftermarket parts, so they don't always match up, and make sure that they're roughly about the same length, so that when you put it back together, the alignment isn't gonna be out. And if I look at these two straight across, they actually look very similar in length, so I'm just gonna put it back on the way it was. So they give you a new nut, at least this one came with a new nut for here, and to prevent from readjusting it in any way, I'm just gonna leave the nut on there that's on there. Spray it up good, and it should be good to go. So I do believe this is still the original factory tie rod. The original one has no grease fitting. The replacement one does. Okay, so there's one turn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's exactly where it was. And if I tighten it just a little bit more, it's already touching the nut, so that should be just perfect. So I know there's a torque on this nut, which I don't have, and I'm guessing it's, my guess would be around 40 pounds. But what do I know? For myself, I'm just going to tighten it up with the breaker bar. You don't want to over tighten this because you can break that inside bolt there. And once I find out the torque, I'll post it right here. Alright, you want it in there tight, but not enough to break it. And there you have it. And then you want to get back over here and tighten that nut back up again. And I don't have a wrench handy to hold that right now, but this is going to be good enough to hold it so it doesn't turn. And I'm sure there's a spec on here too, but I don't have that either. Good and tight. Works for me. Ooh, that's what I did when I smashed my hand. Yikes. And these things, they usually start in hard. And just make sure you're starting it in straight. And this is an 8mm that I'm using on here. Same size as what's on this bottom nut here. 8mm. Alright, put that in. Load her up with grease. And I just use a general purpose grease. And you should be able to see the rubber swell once it starts going in there. There. That's all swelled up, full of grease, and it's ready to put the tire on, if that's all you're doing. And in this case, I'm replacing these stabilizer links right here on both sides, so the tire's not going on just yet. And these wheel nuts are torqued at 105 foot-pounds torque. One thing to note would be that If you notice any kind of shake or irregular tire wear on the car, bring it in for an alignment. This should get you pretty close to where it should be, and if it seems off, and if it seems like your steering wheel is turned in the wrong direction, maybe sitting a little crooked one way or the other, then you really need to get it in for an alignment. Other than that, you should be good to go. Thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe, and make sure you hit the like button. It really helps me out a lot. Thank you.